My name's Kevin Davis. You don't know me from Adam. And I originally was going to make this an introduction to the whole spread of videos I plan on releasing on my channel, but the truth is I don't have the time. So I'll just say I'm Kevin Davis, and I'm here to talk to you about one thing and one thing only: the Berean Study Bible. Let's get it on. A few people have made a few videos about this. It is a Bible that I believe has been out since 2017. It had one edition, I believe a New Testament. It was released in 2020. I don't know if anything else happened that year or not, but it was released in 2020. Old and New Testament, and it is a big Bible. I mean, it's like probably maybe 2 pounds, two pounds and several ounces. You can go somewhere else for all the nitty-gritty measurements. I wanted to talk about the necessity of the translation, though, because that seems to be the one thing I hear in lots of content about the BSB is it necessary? When we talk about translations, we usually have a word-for-word and a thought-for-thought paraphrase, two if you want to make three, but I'm just going to use dynamic, thought-for-thought, literal, essentially literal, whatever you want to call it, word for word. Over here in word for word land lives translations like the NASB, ESV, King James, New King James, and RSV, which I would put more to the middle. Over in thought for thought, dynamic, lives God's Word translation, the New Living Translation. Moving to the middle, we have the NIV and the CSB, which is this Bible, the CSB. This is a 2020 text. CSB came out in 2017, updated in 2020. BSB is similar, but BSB is less known because it's not put out by Holman, Thomas Nelson, Zondervan, HarperCollins, more popular translation publishing companies. But the BSB, is it needed? That was the question I asked when I first heard about it. And here's the reason why I said that: because I've been on this translation journey, and I find out that many people are on this translation journey. I was an ESV only guy for the longest time, probably about 2012 up to about 2017. And then I started going on a long translation journey. I started in the Holman Christian Standard Bible, which is the predecessor of the CSB, and then I went into the Modern English version, and then I dabbled in RSV. Right now I'm really enjoying the NASB 77. But let's get back to the topic. Is there a necessity for the BSB? And I believe yes, there is. Well, I'll do a little translation history with you. I would say like the King James, if you will, of the 90s was the NIV 84. I did a blog post on this history, so I'm going to maybe go a little bit faster than you might like, but I will leave a link to the blog post of this history I'm about to tell you. Coming up on the late 90s, I believe it was like 96, 97, NIV released the NIV Inclusive Edition abroad, just not in the United States. And the basic takeaway from that for many conservatives was NIV is going to do a gender inclusive update to their main translation. And a lot of people don't like this, not because they don't like gender inclusivity, it's because they like to see male pronouns translated as male pronouns. Anyways, and as they were thinking about this, this actually sparked the discussion for multiple translations that we enjoy. Among them, I believe, was the ESV. A lot of Reformed crowds liked the NIV 84, but a lot of them liked the RSV, which was controversial in its own day for other reasons besides gender inclusivity, and let's not get too off topic. So you had people discussing what would become the ESV, and then you had people discussing what would become the HCSB. Holman, at the time, used the NIV 84 largely in their Sunday school curriculum and so forth. Holman, by this point, I believe, was owned by the Southern Baptist Convention, and so they learned that the NIV was basically headed towards this gender-inclusive translation, something that NRSV already did, and multiple other translations, NLT, 96, all these people already did anyways. And they just didn't want NIV to go that route, but they don't own NIV. 2005 rolls around, the TNIV is released, today's New International Version. This is so the NIV 84 can stay out in print and the translation committee of the NIV, who really wanted to go to this gender neutral route, can produce a Bible for people but not lose a big segment of customers. So you have the TNIV and then you have the NIV 84 both in print. But then it's like Biblica thinks, they're like, nah, whatever, we're just going to do it. And so they make this compromise in the NIV 2011 release, which they state is only 4 to 5% different, I think, than the NIV 84. But the damage was done. And I would say that 2005 was the TNIV, but if you back up, 01 was the release of both the ESV and the HCSB. So you already had these other two translations created. ESV, more literal, follows directly in the line of the RSV. HCSB is just NIV 84, but with quirks. Not exactly like NIV 84. I would say it's a slight step more literal, especially its successor, the CSB. You have NIV 84, which is slowly going to die, and then you have the ESV, which is more like the RSV, and then you have the HCSB. Each of them, I think, are vying for the primary audience of the evangelical world. When NIV 11 is produced, they say goodbye to the NIV 84. NIV 84 is given, I think, 2 years, maybe only 1 year, in digital channels, really. I'm talking about Bible Gateway, Olive Tree. By 2012, 2013, NIV 84 cannot even be accessed. It is still accessible. I know a few websites that still have the NIV 84, studylight.org being one of them. By that point, you still have the HCSB and the ESV. ESV is going strong, but you got to admit, sounds weird, it does. Talks a little like Yoda, it does. And the HCSB has some quirks. The Beatitudes are backwards. It doesn't like to use the word blessed. It uses happy. 2017 rolls around. Holman finds that its HCSB is not selling like the NIV 84, and it's not selling like the ESV, and it's not selling like the NIV 11. They'll say that apparently a lot changes from 2001 to 2017, where a revision is necessary. And so the CSB is released. But what does it do? It's ironic. It does exactly what the people at Holman were afraid the NIV was doing. It makes some gender neutral choices. Gender accuracy, they like to use that term, gender accuracy. Now listen, I preached out of the ESV. I preached out of the CSB. I've read the NRSV quite a bit and enjoyed it. Gender accuracy, it's not a hill that I'm going to die on, okay? I just prefer male pronouns to be translated as male pronouns. But again, not my hill to die on. Blast me for it. Give me a thumbs down. I don't care. Just saying. It's ironic that CSB says, you know what? We're going to update our Bible and we're going to sound like more the NIV 11. Because that's why we were made to begin with. Because we didn't like the NIV 11. Which leaves me to the necessity of the BSB. Because now, bear with me, if you want a mediating center-of-the-line translation between the literal and the thought for thought, what are your options? NIV 11, CSB. Some will say New English Translation, but who really hears of the NET? Who really uses it? So if you want that mediating, now some of you are saying, but what about ESV? What about NASB? I'm not talking about literal. I'm talking about straight down the line. Well, if that leaves the CSB and the NIV 11, that's like saying, well, we have Coca-Cola or RC Cola, or we have Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. The CSB in its revision went a little bit close to the NIV, and especially I think in an area where the customers were thinking, this is why I'm still going with the HCSB. Gender accuracy. CSB makes that change. CSB also takes out what the HCSB had, takes out textus receptus. What does the BSB do? First of all, the BSB translates male pronouns as male pronouns. Secondly, it capitalizes deities. Thirdly, its footnotes includes textus receptus variants from all sorts of older manuscripts. Fourthly, very conservative and traditional sounding. It's even more traditional sounding, I would say, than the NIV 84. It has a lot of that older cadence, but it's not so traditional sounding to where it's ESV Yoda sounding. That means there is a necessity for the BSB. It's the only mediating translation on the market that's going to be conservative, translates correctly male pronouns as male pronouns, capitalizes deity, really has an NIV 84 feel, not going to lie to you. I think it's an NIV 84 meets and marries a New King James and you get BSB. So I believe there is a necessity for this. If you want a Bible that is in print today, you can go on BereanBibles.com, buy it. They're making a second printing. So it's in print today. Now, downfalls. And this is the funny downfalls. I've met people who are super BSB fans, but they struggle. You want to know why they struggle? The BSB comes in this, which is tan. It comes in a burgundy, which is more like a dark brown, with this fake leather. And it comes in 2 hardback editions, and that's it. So you got 4 options, none of them being black, genuine leather, or, you know, goat skin or cowhide. All you get is fake leather or a hardback edition. And there are Bible nuts out there who love their leather so much that they struggle to use the BSB. I should have brought them out. All my other leather Bibles. I have a stack on my, you know what? I'm going to go and film that for you and put it in the video. So here are the kids. ESV Crossway verse by verse preaching Bible. Got my name on it because I don't know why. RSV Skylar black goatskin. I like black. You got that? I really like the black and the red, and that's kind of has a nice red. RSV Skylar, I loves it. We're friends. But then I gotta tell you, for $70, $60, $50, $45, this has got to be the most simple yet elegant. Holman, I believe you knocked it out of the park here. Holman does this in the New King James, the King James, and the CSB. Ultra thin, large print. This is really my favorite Bible. So you can see that I have lots of leather Bibles. I like my leather. I'm preaching out of this Bible right now. Of course, I'm tossing around the idea of getting it rebound. If I ever send my BSB into a rebinder, I'm literally going to send my rebinder this Bible as well and say, I don't care, break copyright laws, I will not share on Facebook, just give me this cover as best as you can on my BSB, because that's how much in love I am with this Bible. But I don't have the money, and I don't care, because it's about what's inside here, okay? Those are my 2 exhortations. If you like the BSB, keep reading it. It's not about the leather. It's not about the leather. Secondly, don't let the naysayers say, is there a need for another translation? Yes, and I just laid out why. Thank you.